Hola. Hi, Mr. Wilson. Just waiting for my man to get on here. Do you know what he asked me tonight? I'm gonna say it.
What?
He asked me to get him a mistletoe belt buckle.
No,
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
you guys know where to get one?
What do you think?
Is there such a thing?
I don't know, honey. I don't know. All right, you good?
I don't know how it would work with these overalls, though. Thank you, hon.
Remember, you have to say this
Yeah.
and whatever into it. You have 7 people on.
We got 7 people
So
on.
you know when he's ready, it's gonna pop. You know how he comes; he'll pop up in the little.
All right, we're waiting on Jeff. Jeff's logging in.
Get off that.
I'm seeing if Jeff's gonna. How's everybody doing? What's up, your mom? Oh, Poacher, how you doing, brother? Happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I don't like the Happy Holidays, cool, but for me, it's Merry Christmas, which is next month, actually. Clint Warner. Clint Warner was on first, he says. If anyone wants to dispute that, Clint's on. My beard's all messed up. I've been working. I haven't had time to take care of business. Come on, get that pellet stove. Where's that pellet stove back there? Fired up. How you doing, your mom? Looking forward to seeing your mom soon. Let's see. You sent the link to Jeff, right?
Yep. Okay.
Yes. I'm just telling
I know
him.
everyone's just sitting here watching you text.
I know. What's up, Hot Rod? Biker and a businessman. The biker's on. The businessman we're waiting on. Sorry, folks. It's still a new channel. We're trying to organize this. Mr. Wilson, thank you. Mark McGregor, what's happening? He says he's there. I don't see him. Let's see.
Babe.
Where is he? I don't see
Babe,
him.
I don't know where he is. No, he's not on.
Thank you, Mark McGregor.
No, we're all good. I don't know where he is.
Let's see. This is great. So, the issue tonight, which Jeff and I were going to just talk about, is corruption. And there he is, Big Jeff.
Got it.
There he is, yes. There's Jeff.
How are you?
How you doing, Jeff?
Doing good. How are you?
All right. You driving?
Yeah, we're just getting to a Wi-Fi right now, buddy. So we'll be pulled over in just a few
All
minutes.
right. Well, I hope things work out. You don't get in and out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Good to see you.
Good to see you. You're bouncing around.
Yeah, my son's driving like a maniac. Nothing new.
That's right. So you're out on the road, traveling, doing business.
I am. I'm on my way home though. This business trip is over, so I'm on my way home. So
Okay, you're
look out,
breaking.
Red, and get a suntan. I saw you.
I can't hear you. You're breaking up, and you're fuzzy.
Oh, I said it's about to get better just in 3 minutes.
All right, cool. What's up, Pluto? Terry, what's going on? Mark McGregor, thank you. So, Jeff, you're getting ready to hit a Wi-Fi spot, huh?
Yes, sir. We're working on it right now.
I wanted to talk to you about corruption tonight. I want to have a discussion about corruption. I don't think have you ever experienced corruption, Jeff?
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
Don't be talking about cops like that. None of them lie, cheat, or steal, or sell dope on a prison yard. Never.
Oh, wow. Now that right there just blows my mind because, I remember Avenal State Prison showed a table on the news with about 3,000 or 4,000 cell phones that they confiscated from inmates. John Hall, what's going on, brother? And
John Hall.
and they had like 3,000, 4,000 cell phones. They said they had confiscated in like 6 months, right? And they're saying that inmates were bringing them in through visiting. And I just laughed when I saw that because there's no way you can bring a cell phone in through visiting.
No way.
I mean,
and you know what? I remember them walking a cop off from Corcoran because one day he's driving a brand new Hummer, and the next day he's talking to he's got to take the day off because he's got a couple of houses in escrow. What a clown! He wasn't even slick enough to hide the cash. He was charging a fortune for cell phones, and he was selling a lot of them. And,
in Toronto, they would sell you the cell phone, and then the cop that sold it to you, he would have his buddy come search your cell and take it. And then they would resell it to somebody else. The cops would sell the same cell phone like 5 or 10 times, for like $1,000 a pop,
That's crazy. And it or they would take it from you and they would give it to one of their rats as a reward.
Yeah.
For sharing all the information with them.
Yeah.
Hey Mark, everybody, what's up? Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a guy that was in Toronto. He bought a cell phone from a cop and he buried it on the yard. He never used it. He buried it on the yard for like 6 months.
And they came looking for it a few times, huh?
They came looking for it several times. They're like, "Where's the cell phone?" And he's like, "I don't have no cell phone." And digging the dog and selling the pups. That's right. And after about 6 months, he dug it up and he used it, Merry Christmas, Clinton Warner, Oak Poacher. That's right. Yeah, but, corruption runs deep, not just in prison guards, cell phones. Prison guards also, their corruption runs throughout the union. Their union rep, Don Novi, was not their union rep back in the 70s. Their union rep was a guy out of Folsom Prison. And this is a rumor. They say this guy was having sex with Don Novi's wife. And next thing you know, they found the guy in a field somewhere, dead with a bullet in the back of his head, sitting in his car, slumped over in his car.
And he committed suicide.
It's it's an open investigation in which Don Novi is a prime suspect who is the head of the union, and that guy was the head of the union. Their union is ripe with corruption.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And it has been it has been once they saw that what a little bit of money does as far as political clout.
Yeah.
Once they got the governor in their back pocket like they did.
Oh, you mean giving him $1 million every year, even now that he's retired from the governor's office?
I mean, they might as well just have him drop his pants and lick it right there in downtown, because if that's not as obvious as it can be.
They still give Governor Pete Wilson $1 million a year.
Yeah. Hey, I got to say something though. As we're getting closer to Christmas, and I know this is completely off topic, I don't know if I'm the only one that notices it, but does anybody see that Mitch is beginning to look a little like Santa Claus right now? He's all red in his cheeks. He's got the big white. Does anybody see that, or is it just me?
I think it's just you.
I think you look a little like Santa Claus to me tonight, buddy. I feel like there's going to be elves popping up behind you.
Well, my beard's getting a little longer. It's starting to get crazy. Now's about the time I normally Carbon Connection. What's going on, Mr. Wilson?
All right, Carbon Connection.
For him, how you doing?
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Smoking for him was in Donovan with me. Obviously, he's made some comments. I wish he'd contact me. Where we go, they go. That's right. You know, but not only is the head of the union.
Right on, Pluto, you said, huh? I know more than one person sees it.
You know, not only is the union corrupt, the leadership of the union, but why are state workers? And someone made a connection. A comment. Merry Christmas, Carbon Connection. Merry Christmas, Pluto. Someone made a comment. Why are we against unions on our channel, on our comment section? I'm not really against unions. And they said, why are you against prison guards having a union? I'm against prison guards having a union because they're state employees. They are state workers, right? Why do they need a union separate from other state workers? You know, they're state employees. They're paid, their salaries paid by the taxpayers. So why do they make? Remember, there was a prison guard in Donovan. My second go round there, he pulled in $185,000 a year because he was manipulating the overtime system.
Sure.
And for guys that don't know, we can discuss this. Prison guards would team up with guys, and they say, "All right, I'm going to take today off, and then Jeff, you can work my shift." After you work your shift. So you work your shift and then you get paid time and a half to work my shift. And then tomorrow I'll work my shift and then I'll work your shift. And I'll get paid time and a half for working your shift. This guy made $185,000 a year as a prison guard. That's what their union does for them.
Yeah, it's a hell of a gig if you can get it. You know, it's really not that bad because we know the real reason that they need a union. They need a union so that somebody pays for their attorney's fees when they shoot somebody that they shouldn't shoot, or when they decide they want to do a little beat down and add seg. You know what I mean? So it's sorry, I'm just getting this computer set up so I can have a little better, but
please hit the share button. Please share this and like. Thank you. You know, Jeff, their union, people are unaware of the fact that their union is corrupt. The cops, not all of the prison guards are corrupt, but the majority of them are dirty. Prison guards are crooks, you know, when you're behind the wall. Yep, there you go. You know, it's like it goes beyond just their salary, like you're saying. Remember, we both know the young man that got killed in that SIG. They shot him in the back of the head when he was involved with a fight.
Officer Bamman.
What's that?
Officer Bamman is the one that shot him.
Yeah,
piece of shit. And he got a promotion he got promoted to security squad after he killed that kid.
Yeah, he did. And after he killed that youngster, the youngster was in Ad Seg, and Bamman was working the guard tower in Ad Seg that watches over the yard. And the kid got in a fight on the yard, a fist fight. And Bamman shot him in the back of the head and killed him. And how old was that guy? Like 20, 19?
I think he was 21 years old.
Yeah.
And I think that he was back there because he smuggled some drugs in visiting, right? A little bit something.
No, actually, he came up my yard and he was asking me how he can make his bones, and I said, "Hey, youngster, there's
Oh,
no
is that
bones.
what it was?
There's no bones to be made here. Just kick
Not,
back,
not here.
yeah, and do your fucking time and relax." And he
Yeah.
got with someone else who sent him on a mission to stab a child molester. That's why he was in the hole.
Well,
And so Bama shot him in the back of the head and killed him. And afterwards, Bama was working building 7. He was a second watch cop in building 7. If you remember, what's up, Tequila? I was a
Tequila.
plumber. I was a plumber at that time on that yard with Lola. My boss's name was Lola. She was a Chicano lady who grew up in
I
Logan.
remember Lola.
Yeah, she grew up in the ghetto in Logan Heights, and she was not
She's cool as
afraid.
fuck.
She grew up across the street from the park, Logan Heights, where guys were getting shot and killed all the time. She wasn't scared of nothing, you know. And so we went in the building one day to do some plumbing, and they had waxed the floor, and Bama got in our ass. Smoking for him. What's going on, brother? And Bama said, "Hey, you guys can't come in the building right now because I just waxed the floor." And so he ran us out of the building. So
All right, smoking for him.
I said, "Hey, Lola, we're not going back in that fucking building until that guy apologizes to us." And we didn't go back in that building for almost 2 months, Jeff.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, she. You know, it's
Lady.
she was way cool.
Still is
She
a
was
good
way
lady.
cool. You know, but it's so different. Hey, smoking for him. Yeah, you know what's amazing is he made a remark about you know, Jilly Rizzo he was actually supposed to be in federal prison. So we're talking about police corruption. Well, let me tell you, there's some judges that are corrupt too.
Yeah.
And so Frank Sinatra went and met with the judge at Jilly's trial, and all of his crime partners went to prison, but Jilly went to Tamara's Country Club to serve his time.
Oh,
As a guest of Frank Sinatra.
corruption is relegated to just one aspect of government, authority. I mean, agencies. Go ahead, Jeff. Run it.
Yeah, it's well, you know, one thing I do know for sure is there's several different justice systems in the state of California.
Oh yeah.
And it's no different anywhere else. You have a separate justice system for the white privilege. You
Yeah.
have it exists. You have a separate justice system now for you're getting what's called a Hispanic privilege, as you could tell by Fabio Nunez's son, who got love for participating in that gang murder. He's outside. Yeah, he was, and now he works for ARC. You know what I mean? After serving his long 8-year sentence for killing somebody with a knife. And how much did you do? How much time did you do? 38 years? Oh,
Yeah,
sounds to me like there might be a little bit of brown privilege there. So,
I did 38 years for a fight.
Yeah, well, that's what he did, but he actually stabbed the kid with the knife. So he was pardoned by Schwarzenegger. Why? Because Nunez.
Pardon that guy because his dad was a state senator.
He was his friend. He said that's what friends do.
And
well, of course.
Also, that guy had a crime partner, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the crime partner went to prison.
Correct. Well, he went to prison too. They both went to prison. He just went to prison for a short amount of time for a murder with a knife.
Yeah.
And now he's in charge of. Now he works at ARC for the people down there, but Los Angeles. But
that ARC program is,
So all of Jilly's crime partners who were made men in the mob, Jilly was a made man in the mob. I guess at that time you had to make brownies for a week or something to get made. You know what I mean? You didn't have to kill nobody because when he went to trial, they made him out to be the Pope. So I figured that he was on the brownie for a week program because he wasn't. He wouldn't have killed nobody to get made, right? But the reality is that 60 Minutes was doing a workup of the story, and they discovered that he should have found it. And what they also discovered in that was that he was blind in one eye from a boxing injury.
Well, then he shouldn't have been driving anyway.
No, and he had just had surgery 2 weeks previously on his only good eye. So
yeah. But the
that was
bottom
a perfect
line
storm.
was, he basically skated on some crimes that his crime partners were in prison for.
Yeah, they embezzled $5 million from a casino in the Pocono Mountains.
All right.
In a bank deal, in a bank loan. And what's funny is when all of his crime partners started getting out of prison, yeah, I know, Mark, it's crazy. If just because there was a big story done on my case, and I would I'm gonna maybe we can post it. We'll post it on the Biker and the Businessman website. But it's amazing. They have a whole column of professional athletes and movie stars who had killed somebody drunk driving and served not one day in jail. Not one day.
They have millions of dollars, and they have the football franchise behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's all T-Killer. It's all in who you know, and and sometimes they say it's all in who you blow, because we don't blow nobody, so we don't know shit.
Who you blow, and since we weren't able to blow anyone, we ended up doing a lot of. How much time did you do?
28 years, just 28. But I did. Remember, I got out at 24 and a half, and then they fucked me over and put me back in for another 4 years for 2 unopened beers, based on a parole agent filing a police report stating I was drinking and driving. That might come back to haunt her, my brother.
Well, we're hoping so.
We're definitely putting a full court press.
Corruption goes throughout government on all levels.
All levels.
For us, we were directly affected by prison guard corruption, but and then the courts, of course. But the thing is, corruption runs throughout the whole government. Just think about all them casinos. Who owns them casinos in Vegas and all over the place? They have to get approved to have them. People that approve all that shit, they're corrupt. I don't know, man. It just, who's getting money from who? Pete Wilson gets $1 million a year from the prison guards union. It used to be a political contribution. I don't know what the fuck it is now, but they still give him money every year for what he did for them in the 80s and 90s. So,
yep.
I mean, corruption runs deep, and then if you're a low-level guy, you're on the bottom run of society, you suffer from that, because the people that get the money for the corruption, they're the ones that make the laws. I'm sure our governor's family somewhere is getting a kickback for some of the shit he's doing.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's only obvious. I mean, all you have to do, look at Nancy Pelosi, right? Everyone knows who that little scumbag is, right? Nancy Pelosi her and her husband have amassed a fortune worth over $140 million.
Right.
And she gets paid less than $200,000 a year.
Right.
How is that even possible without utilizing inside information to do investing in the stock market?
Yeah.
It's impossible. And it's it's just they should do 2 terms, right? They should do 1 term in the House of Representatives and 1 term in state prison when they get done doing their term in the House of Representatives. And that's what it should be. The 2-term limit.
Back in the day, United States senators was a part-time job. Those guys used to come from their states, go to Washington, D.C., do their business, and then go back to their states where they had their regular jobs or their businesses or whatever. Now it's a full-time job, you know?
Well, because you can't keep, it's the only way you can keep track of all the graph.
Yeah.
You got to be there full time, brother. And, you know, you got a lot of people wanting to have dinner with them. And, you know, it's, you know, but, you know, at the end of the day, too, there are good people in every walk of life, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's easy to paint it with a wide brush because it takes a wide brush to paint it. But there are good people because you know that we met some good cops in prison that were looking out for us. You know what I mean?
And they were prison guards in there who made sure we got treated right. We got what we had.
Right.
Then there were guards in there that made sure we got what we had coming and a little more.
And a little more.
I mean, they weren't bringing us drugs. They weren't, you know, bringing their wife in to have sex with us, or, you know,
pack of cigarettes here and there, maybe a can of dip, you know, just a little bit of love.
You a jar of coffee or a can of dip and gives you a thumbs up, you know, a wink of the eye. He's letting you know, hey, I recognize, you know.
That's right. Because you know why? Because they understand that bad things happen to good people.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, that's true, Carbon Connection. They are far and few. And you know why they're far and few in between? Because they're so afraid of stepping out on their own 2 feet that they're going to be blackballed. And because no matter what, if you catch a cop with his hand in the cookie jar, they're going to fucking circle the wagons and they're going to try and help him.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So you're right. That's why there's few and far between, because they won't say, hey, wait a minute, motherfucker. You can't do that. You know, let that guy go. What the fuck are you doing? You know, and maybe whoop his ass in the parking lot or something. But the fact of the matter is that they're afraid of their own shadow because, number one, it's hard to find a good job. Number two, it is a good job for what they do. They don't do a fucking thing. The benefits are amazing.
You know, outlaw lifestyle, criminal lifestyle. If you're a citizen, you want to make good money, have good benefits, retirement, being a prison guard job. I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it either because there's no fucking way. Number one, child molesters and rapos, they would have not a motherfucking thing coming. I wouldn't even feed them. And because you know how I am about them, brother. And,
yeah, well, I'll their shit
I'll
out.
be first in line. But the fact of the matter is that I would be looking out for the fellas because I feel sorry about people having to live under such horrific conditions. But I wouldn't do it either because you know what? I don't even know how the hell they pay their bills on the amount of money they make. I don't get it. Well, so that's why there's so much corruption.
When I went to prison, man, them guys made $18,000 a year. You know, and it was so loose in San Quentin. I saw guys shooting their line over to the gun rail, and the gun rail would pull the line in and pull $100 bill off and tie a bag of weed on there, you know, an ounce of weed, and shoot it. And got to pull it back. You know, I mean, that's how loose, or a fifth of whiskey, or, you know, $100 bill in the 80s in San Quentin would buy you anything you wanted from certain cops.
That was the same way at Donovan. $100 bill got you any bottle you wanted.
Yeah, you know, but now they make $70,000 base pay, 100, 120, 150,000 a year overtime. You know, yeah.
I hear you, Carbon Connection, because snitches get stitches, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, but you know, back in the day, they would, you know, there was a guy that came from San Quentin. I mean, came from Folsom to San Quentin. He was there a short period of time, and he came out of his cell drunk and cut some cop on his jawline with a razor, with a box cutter. You know, they sent him over to animal control, you know, AC. And when he came back, before he came back, they had put all his paperwork out on the tier. Well, he was there for a short time. And so what happened was when he was in Folsom, he saw a murder. He committed a murder in Folsom. He had paperwork on that, so everybody thought, hey, he's good. But after that, he saw someone else commit a murder after he got his 25 to life for his murder, and he ratted on him.
Wow.
So after he cut this cop in San Quentin, they put his paperwork out on the tier. You know, like, hey,
I knew what was going to happen.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, there's cops that would put child molesters paperwork out. You know what I mean?
I remember that on Thomas Kelly escaping, smoking for him.
Yeah.
Then those guys escaped by hanging on underneath the laundry truck too. Remember?
You remember that guy? He was a nut.
Yeah, they caught him in Tennessee.
That guy was a nutter, and he got underneath. He got underneath the laundry cart, and
he cut all his hair off. He was long hair. You couldn't even recognize him. He cut all his hair off, and he walked out.
Oh no, I'm thinking the guy. So in Donovan, they have a central energy plant, and they drive in,
that's the one. That's the same guy. He walked out in the park. This guy walked out in the parking lot. He was out in the parking lot, asked for a ride because his car broke down.
Yeah, but that was after the truck had gone away. The driver of the truck saw him, goes, "Hey, I think I got one of your inmates here." He ratted on him. But yeah, he got up underneath the truck that delivered oil to the central energy plant because they produced energy. Yeah.
They did. I remember the guy at Ironwood. A guy at Ironwood. They were pouring concrete with a cement truck inside the perimeter. He jumped in the dump truck and headed for the gate at full speed ahead.
Yeah.
And he went through that gate, and he did they said his restitution is like $400,000 or $500,000. That's how much damage he did that gate.
Tennessee was Finney, and he dressed up like a plumber.
Yeah, was that him? That they cut his hair off? Yeah, Finney. It was Finney.
That was Finney. He dressed up.
Yeah.
He had a beard, long hair, and shit.
Yeah, shaved it all off.
So the rumor is that he got a bunch of clothes sent in through a TV, and that's why we got to have clear TVs now in prison. He put on the street clothes, shaved his beard, cut his hair, had a fake badge already made, went out to the yard, walked out the front gate as a plumber.
And talk to the sergeant all the way out the fucking gate.
Yeah, and the sergeant told him, "Do you need a ride?" And he goes, "No, it's cool. I got a ride coming." He called a taxi to pick him up. Yeah, from the prison front of the.
And they caught him because he told his cellie or whatever. Cellie ratted him out that he was going to Tennessee.
Well, he went to Tennessee and hung out with his old girlfriend from high school, and I think she ratted on him too.
What a fucking loser.
He was smart enough to get out of prison, but once he got out, he was stupid,
I don't understand that, bro, because I'm headed straight to a marina, and I'm going to see a boat. I'm going to look at the sailboat that is covered in bird shit, so I know that it's been there a while. I'm going to throw the tarps off that motherfucker, and I'm going to raise the sails, and I'm going to cruise.
Yeah. But, Lola used to tell me after that she would have reoccurring dreams of, I was a plumber. I was an emergency plumber. My boss's name was Lola, female. She grew up in the hood.
Nice lady.
Yeah. And so she was great, but she used to have nightmares or, whatever, dream of me outside the gate giving her a snake, a hand snake that snake toilets with, and like, "Hey, Lola, I need a ride." She would tell me, "Man, I had a dream last night about you." I go, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, you were outside the gate."
Did she give you the ride?
No, we never got that far, but there's a difference between corruption in prison and treating people like human beings. Like, all the plumbers are pretty cool. And they would have a spread, right? And I remember one day, Lupe was the head plumber, old Mexican guy, and all the plumbers were Mexican guys and women except one, Ellen. She was a white chick, but she was
a carpenter, wasn't she?
No, that was Vinny. Ellen came out of the Navy. She was a plumber. But they would have a spread, you know, and then Lupe calls me and he goes, "Hey, Smiley, come here." This is during lunchtime. And I go, "What's up?" He goes, "Hey, you want to wash these dishes for me?" And at first I thought, well, what am I, your fucking bitch, you know? Wash your dishes. Then I looked, all the dishes had like a half pound of carnitas, homemade refried beans, homemade rice, you know, all this food was
He's giving you the hookup.
He goes, "Hey, you want to wash my dishes?" And and it took me a minute, you know. I looked at him and Lola and everybody. Go, "Yeah, I'll handle that," you know. Yeah. So that's how they do it, you know.
Rather wash the dishes than the britches, brother.
Yeah, you know. I mean, that's really not corruption. I mean,
No. That's
well,
treat somebody like a human being. For
yeah,
Christ's sake.
they're treating us like human beings, man. If
Yeah,
they,
exactly.
uh, what's it, you know, they would if they had to pay a plumber hourly wage for the shit that we did, they'd be paying thousands of dollars, you know.
A lot of money.
And we got paid. I got like $48 a month, you know. What's up, Carbon? Oh wow. Trying to kick COVID, strip at the same time. I hope you can get over that shit, brother, and get right.
Yeah,
I hope that you don't have any residual effects. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in, Carbon Connection.
Yeah, Carbon Connection. Take care, brother. Say a prayer for you.
Both people when a leader wants to rise above his people. Yeah, so you know those people treated us good. I'm going to tell you something, man. I worked for Lola for 7 years. I worked for her when you were there. Then I left, and when my points went down, I went back to level 3. I went to Donovan. I worked for her for another 3.5 years, and yeah, prayers for Carbon Connection.
Yeah. Hey. Yep.
You know, those people treated me really good, and you know, I had never done any plumbing before. When I went to Lancaster after working for her the first time, I went to vocational plumbing. And when I graduated, my boss, you know, the supervisor goes, "Hey, look, I'm not going to graduate you." I go, "What the fuck you mean you're not going to graduate me? I got a job as a plumber on A yard." He goes, I got to create 10 more tests in the curriculum. And I go, "Yeah, so what's that got to do with me graduating?" And he goes, "Will you create some tests for me?" I was like, wow. You know, she taught me so much that this guy in the vocational program wanted me to create, you know,
You knew
tests.
more than him.
Yeah.
He knew that you knew more than him.
Questions in a test for him.
Yep.
You know, I was blown away. That's how much she taught me. She really, she was really just a great person, man. And you know, I feel like she's like a sister to me. You know, I was blessed to have that job. You know, but that's not correct. You know.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if Carbon Connection took off or not, but he asked a question on here. He said in Florida they gave out condoms. Well, you know, California prison now, as soon as you walk into a housing unit, there's a box there full of condoms in any housing unit you go to. And you know what? You know what my opinion on it? My opinion is they give those condoms out so they say to prevent the spread of sexually transmitted diseases.
Yeah.
Well, then what they need to do is they should have a fucking needle exchange on the yard too, so that they can prevent the spread of deadly diseases.
Yeah.
And because there's no difference to me whether you're smoking a bone or you're smoking a joint, right?
Yeah.
It should be get the same protection.
If they're going to give out condoms for guys that bone each other and prevent AIDS, then they should do needle exchange. They should give, because you know, instead of acting like guys aren't shooting dope in prison, carrying a syringe around in their ass and passing it around when there's dope on the yard, the guy with the syringe is the guy that gets the most dope because he charges guys to use his needle. So they should just give my finger, I my finger.
Amen, Carver. Yeah.
They should give out needles if they're going to give out condoms. And you know, all the condoms, I heard about that shit, right? And then this guy goes, "Hey, there's a box in the housing unit with condoms in it."
Yeah.
Really? He goes, "Yeah,
colored condoms."
He goes, "They're purple." I go, "What?" I went in there, it was empty. I go, "That box is empty." guys, guys are using them condoms to wrap up their shit and go to the hoop.
Yeah, to wrap up their dope, because they work pretty good. Not that I used them before for a little bit of weed or a little bit of tobacco. Hey, smoking asked me a question here. He said, Jeff, did you get degrees in business management for when you paroled, or was it something you felt as an accomplishment in life regardless? To be honest on that issue, I was already pretty successful in business before I went to prison. So the only reason I went to school to get my college degrees is because being a father was the most important thing in life to me. And when I had my collision, I had custody of 3 children from my first marriage. I fought and fought and fought, and I was a single father. And I knew how important education was. And so I wanted to live my life as an example to my kids. I know I couldn't be a father from prison, but I could be a friend. And that way I could say, hey, look how important education is. That, it's still important when you go to prison to get educated. It's even that much more important then. So I did it as an opportunity to be a role model to my children as far as education wise. And the other thing too is I knew that one day I'd want to maybe start writing some books. And I knew that the PhD at the end of my name would give me some credibility. That's the reason.
You talk about, since we're talking about corruption, I had to change back onto the, Jeff, you worked in the Yard Shack Canteen last time I saw you. The food in CMC West, pretty terrible. At one time, that prison had some of the best food in the prison,
probably in the country,
and now it has like the worst food in the prison system. And so you were on a kosher diet, which is for Jewish inmates. Went to court, and so anyone that says, "Hey, I'm Jewish, I want a kosher diet," they can get it. It's a separate diet than the mainline eats. You go up and get it. You pick it up separate. Thank you, RG. So my point is that, back in the day, every prison food manager got a budget and they could buy food from anywhere they wanted.
Right.
Now, every food manager is relegated to a menu that comes out of Sacramento, and they're also relegated to buy their food from prison industry, right? So here's my thing. They butcher hogs, cows, and process meat at Ione. What's the name of that prison called? Mule Creek?
Yeah, Mule Creek. That's where my son paroled from.
And they process meat at that
3 months ago.
All right. So here's the deal. What happens to all the meat? Because our hamburger is no longer hamburger. It's 40% chicken, 40% soybean, and 20% beef. We got roast beef. We used to get roast beef like once or twice a month. Now we get it once a quarter, right? You get beef tips maybe twice a month if you're lucky, and a little gravy. You have like 5 or 6 pieces of beef tips.
That's because most of the inmates fucking get it out of there before they serve it.
So where's all the
where's the beef?
Where's the meat?
Where's the beef? Well, you know where it's at. It's in these screws fucking refrigerator at home, brother. Come on, there's no puzzle.
So, but the thing is, where does the meat go? Where does it go? Because it's not going to the prisons.
No.
And it's not, the fire camps aren't sucking up all that meat.
No, but they must have somebody somewhere is getting paid.
And just so you know, any products that prison industry produces, it is against the law to sell it on the streets in the free market.
Yep.
So where does that meat go? I know back in the day, remember the warden at Donovan? We were there. His name was Rattel.
Yeah.
Warden Rattel was fired from Tehachapi State Prison.
Yep.
He was never to work again. Then they brought him back because they needed a warden. But he was fired because he was butchering cows, using inmates to butcher up cows
And loading this fucking freezer up, huh?
Yeah, but not only that, the local farmers in Tehachapi would send all their cows to Tehachapi prison. The inmates would butcher the meat and then give it back to the ranchers who would sell it.
Wow.
And he got fired for that. And then they brought him back as a warden.
You know, as I said on this show plenty of times, it is my firm belief that CDCR intentionally promotes to the level of incompetence, which means the stupidest motherfucker is the one running the prison. And so, you know, it's absolutely true. But you know, you remember Rosie Garcia?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're all about her.
Yeah, there was she was another dirtbag. And then there was another lady at Chuckawalla. She supposedly had an excess amount of money in her budget.
Really?
And so she bought palm trees to go all the way around the prison.
Really?
She didn't even she did a sole source bid. Just hired some guy to come fucking put palm trees, and he charged like $1.2 million. I wonder how much the warden got of that.
Wow.
Think she got something? Come on.
I don't think
I got just a little piece.
It didn't go directly to the warden. It went to her son or her daughter.
Oh yeah, of course. Like maybe just a little bit of ownership. You know, the reality is that money can corrupt you.
Money corrupts people, and power corrupts people.
But so does power, and I think power even more so. You know, because it's just crazy. All I know is this: is even at my worst time, when I'd been down in prison a long time. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Man, that's freedom. You ain't kidding, it is, Mark, because that fucking soda tastes good right there, and it's cold. I remember how many times I drank piss fucking warm sodas in the cell.
Tastes better than sodas you used to sell out of that canteen in CMC West.
Right. Sure does. You know, it's the only one that my boss would come into the canteen, right? What was his name? You know what I'm talking about? The young guy. Him and his crime partner. They had all the rats.
Tom, you mean the cop?
Yeah, Thomason and what was his partner? The guy that ran the canteen.
Reed.
Huh?
Thomas and Reed.
Well, it was the guy before Reed.
Oh yeah, I know. I forgot his name. Yeah.
Kind of young guy.
Yeah,
He came to the canteen when he first hired me, and he said, "So, and he pulled out a wad like 50 ducats, right?" And he set it on my desk, and he goes, you know, I get these ducats. He goes, so if you ever hear of anything, you know, feel free to chat when I'm in here. And I looked at him and I said, what the fuck did you just say? I picked up his ducats and I said, you can stick these fucking ducats up your ass. I'm not a fucking rat, dude.
Yeah, just so you know, it's $1.
Huh?
Ducat is worth $1. It's yard money.
Yeah, it's worth, so he's $50. I said, take your fucking ducats. And I said, you know what? You can take your job and stick it up your fucking ass too.
Yeah.
I'd fucking stick it right up your ass. I said, because if you think I'm a fucking rat, you got it fucked up. And I said, and now I know that you're going to be all up in my fucking business up here in here anyway. So I'm not going to do no time. He goes, wait a minute. He goes, wait a minute, man. I got respect for a convict. And he just turned around and walked out the door.
You know what that guy had to do? Him and Thomas came to me. They go, hey, you're an artist, right? I go, yeah. I go, yeah. He goes, hey, man, will you draw us up some artwork? Because, you know, over in their office, they had a bunch of artwork, like gang shit, you know? I go, so what do you want? They go, I want some A-B stuff. I go, what? What are you talking about? You know, like Samaritan Brotherhood artwork. Like, I'm not in the Aryan Brotherhood. They go, oh, come on, man, you can do it. I said, man, fuck you, you know? Yeah, I mean, it's just like we're on a level 2. We're like one step away from camp with no fence, and they're trying to act like they're running a fucking level 4 yard.
Yeah, a level 4 yard.
Yeah, hey, Jeff, just so you know, I talked about this the other day. You remember that? Somebody asked me what's the most luxurious item I've ever saw in a prison.
It was in my fucking cell. And that motherfucker would bump.
Now, did you get that through corruption, or was that just a guy being a nice guy?
You know, Eric Thibodeau.
Ingenuity.
What it was because I was working fucking stout and he was a fucking dirty cop.
Yeah.
So you remember, if you needed a remote control for your TV, all you had to do was mail it to my wife.
Yeah.
Because I handed out the packages. Stout would open up my box sometimes and there'd be 10 fucking antennas there, a shitload of remotes. And I wish they had cell phones then, brother, because I'd have had it full of fucking cell phones.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a fuck.
You know,
but Eric Thibodeau, remember young Eric, the kid from Malibu, who fucking got busted for dope.
Yeah.
And you know that motherfucker, he's a solid dude, bro. He got out and it got into marijuana and fucking he was making $150,000 a week. He took care of me. My first parole board, Michelle had a knock on her door.
I put you guys up on the Bose radio thing because the guy on 8 yard or 1 yard got him. And next thing I know, you guys, Eric sent one.
Come on, bro. I had more fucking juice than God allows. They call me fucking.
I was trying to get the big Bose stereo like we got back there. You know, I wanted to one up everybody, get $1,000 Bose, but I got transferred to Corcoran before I could get it, you know.
Well, just to let you know where I got some juice from, because he doesn't work in prison anymore. He fucking idiot got busted. But there was a young cop that worked in work change on 2 yard. And he found out that my sister-in-law and brother-in-law owned Oasis Honda Suzuki.
Really?
And he pulled me aside one day and he said, hey, bro, he goes, I know you're straight. He goes, but hey, man, I'm really straight too. And he goes, hey, there's a fucking, grab that fucking water bottle and get the fuck out of here. I grabbed the water bottle. I went back to the cell, opened it up. It was a fucking bottle of Absolute vodka.
Oh, wow.
Full sparklet bottle. So me and Eric are up fucking drinking fucking Bloody Marys and fucking screwdrivers because you can buy V8 and fucking orange juice at the store. All night long we're playing chess, drinking these fucking drunk as fuck. Don't like to beat Eric chess.
Bruno, man.
Yeah, we were drinking fucking Bloody Marys. But the next day I went back there and I said, hey man, what the fuck was that for? And he goes, hey, me and my brother, we steal motorcycles at night.
Really?
I said, you steal motorcycles? I said, you steal Harleys from the fellas? He goes, no. He goes, we just steal bullet bikes.
Yeah.
And he goes, I thought maybe if your sister might have a frame or two lying around of wrecked bikes. And I said, well, you know, I'll make a call for you.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the love kept coming.
Yeah.
So here's a fucking guy sitting in prison all day. He didn't give anybody a hard time though, so he wasn't a fucking hypocrite. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was always respectful. But at night, that motherfucker was out stealing motorcycles.
Well, you know,
he said they just don't pay us enough.
That might be the same cop. He worked work change, you say?
Work change. He kind of had like he had a bunch of acne. A young kid.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there was another guy there. He work change there on the weekends. Hispanic dude, you know, Chicano. And he wanted to get tattooed, you know. He asked me about tattoo. I was gonna tattoo him.
Can't smoke these either, Mark.
Huh?
I can't smoke these in the joint either.
I can't. Well, I drew some tattoo pattern for him and he bought it. You know, he brought me you know, some food and some other shit, you know. I was at work eating cheeseburgers and curly fries and shit, you know. And
true corruption.
he goes, it's gonna cost me $1,500. And I go, what? Because, man, I go to tattoo shit because I like the pattern, but it's going to cost me $1,500. I go, look, you go to this tattoo shop and you ask for this guy. Because, we're in San Diego, And about a week later, he came in with that shit tattooed all on his arm. And he called me into the main kitchen because I was on 2 Yard at that time. And had a big spread in the main kitchen on a Saturday. No one's there, But he paid like half what he would have paid at a tattoo shop for that, Yeah.
Well, you know what? There's some good cops. I became really good friends, actually friends, with a lieutenant at Chuckawalla. He's a white guy, Lieutenant Dan Shaw. Dan Shaw was a good fucking dude. Dan Shaw would me and Metal Mike Baker would walk into his office and fucking in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and the cops would come out of their office. Hey, what the fuck are you guys doing? We just keep on trucking. And Dan Shaw said, they're with me, goddammit. And they that's right, Mark. And they would fucking, oh, by the way, smoking for him. I don't know what city it was in Tennessee. I may not be 1,000,000% right, but I think my memory sometimes is better than my memory. You know what I mean? So I think Tennessee is the right city, but I don't know which city. For Finney.
You talking about Finney?
Yeah. But I would walk in and and he'd go, you got a dip on you? And I'd give him a dip and I'd fucking reach across the table and I'd snack his fucking lunch pail, bro. And he'd say, man, motherfuckers, I ain't got nothing to eat. We said, don't give a fuck. And we would eat every fucking thing in his box and then just split, But when I got out of prison, he always told me, he goes, you look me up in Havasu. And because he looked out for me when they locked me up for investigation as being a shot caller for the whites, he came back into the hole and he pulled me down. He goes, hey man, he fucking gave me a pack of cigarettes and a lighter, and he goes, I tried to help you. I'm trying to help you, Jeff. He goes, but these fucking the warden and them, they're all over this. They told me to back off. I said, you know what, Dan, this isn't your battle. I don't want you only medicinal. If this isn't your battle, I don't want you to suffer any repercussions of this. I said, you know what? I got big shoulders. I'll handle this one on my own. And you know what I mean? Because I figured I was going to the indeterminate shoe anyway. But my father-in-law fucking pulled some magic. It fucking circled up some attorneys and they backed the fuck up off me. But where they fucked up, because cops, I tell you something about them. If you give them enough rope, they'll fuck up too. Because they're not.
Oh yeah.
Some of them are the dumbest motherfuckers I ever met in my life. Because they were supposed to issue me a 115 as soon as I got back into AdSeg, and they forgot to.
Yeah.
So CSR, after I'd been back in the hole for 5 or 6 months, I got a little chronicle from CSR, and it said, absent the finding of guilt on an RVR, 8 confidential informants are insufficient to support referral to a indeterminate shoe program.
And just saying that was called the Classification Score Review Board. It's also called the Rover Board because they're the ones responsible for transferring you to another prison from the prison that you're at. You have to go in front of the CSR. So, yeah. Tracy had some really corrupt cops. I remember my cellie had a broken leg, and one day we were walking back from the chow hall, and he goes, hey, bro, hold my crutch. This guy I grew up with, and in Lakeside, he's in prison. We're cellies. He broke his leg playing baseball. He had cast on, so he's like, hold my crutches. He was trying to walk, like learn how to walk, in his leg, gradually. So I'm like, all right. So this female cop who ended up getting fired for having sex with an inmate later on, but she's like, hey, what's up with that? She got all mad because I was carrying his crutches, started talking shit, and my cellar told, hey, fuck you, bitch, and So her brother worked there. So they yanked him into the program office and traced
Beat him up.
It's in a corridor. And so I walked down there right where her brother pushes my
Oh boy.
he pushes my celly over a chair and he falls on his ass. And I go, "Hey, motherfucker." And I yell, and both of them turn and see me. And they realize that they've been seen, right? And they had me put in K-wing in a holding cell, that's the whole ad seg, you know? And they strip me out, and I'm getting ready to go to cell. And then all of a sudden, they come in and tell me to release me. And that's corruption, bro. And so my cellie goes, "Hey, you guys putting them in the hole, the lifer." This is before I met you. This is like 89, 90, you know? And he says, "Look, I'll tell my cellie that he didn't see nothing. Just let him out of the hole." And so they came down there and talked a little shit to me and let me out. But that's the level of corruption. They could have fucked my day up. I didn't do nothing wrong. All I did was witness them abusing an inmate who had a broken leg, basically. You know.
Yeah, I tell you, we got some really smart people on tonight.
Yeah.
You know, they really are making some absolutely spot on
Valid.
information. Yeah, we thought we weren't gonna bring somebody on with us, huh?
How do we bring people in?
Do people want to?
If anybody wants to come on, we're gonna have Adrian.
Mark McGregor, why don't you come on up? What you want to come on? A red dye, one of you guys. Then we'll take some turns. Come on up in here.
Yeah, we're gonna have some guys. You gotta have a camera, a computer. How do we do this, babe?
Well, first you gotta have somebody say they want to, babe.
If somebody wants to come on,
who wants to come on and go live with us? We'll send you a link.
Steve Garvey.
That's funny, smoking for him. Hey, just so you know, smoking for him. I was down at San Diego Stadium watching my nephew play when he just came back. My nephew is Kevin Pillar. He's center fielder for the Mets, and he's played 6 years at Toronto. Played up in the Bay Area for a year, and played for Boston, and then went to Colorado. They picked him up, but he plays center field. They call him Superman. He took a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right off the center of his face this last year, and he got the Tough Man Award. But he plays center field for the New York Mets, brother. Go Mets.
Yeah.
Go Yankees.
Well, he's got a hat for you.
Yeah, well, I you know what? I'd probably wear it because it'd go with my little cannabis shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, number Steve Garvey. Hey, Smoke, can you speak in my language?
Dave Winfield, he was a big Padre.
Yeah, Dave Winfield. There's another big Padre, man.
Dave Winfrey play first base. Was your first base guy, right? Who's there?
I'll tell you
No,
one thing about the Padres.
no. Nate Colbert was the first baseman when I was on the first base line watching a Padres game when I was a kid. Nate Colbert, yeah.
Now were they in the stadium downtown then?
That was Jack Murphy Stadium.
They were at Jack Murphy. I played when I graduated from Navy boot camp. I played drums in Jack Murphy. We went there and did a marching band gig. But the stadium now, the Padre Stadium now, I think is the prettiest stadium in the United States, and it's clean.
Adrian and I have to check that out.
Yep. Well, we'll go down and watch a game this year when the Mets come to town. In fact, we'll make it maybe Smoking for Him can meet us there, and I'll leave him a ticket. It will call for him. So somebody want to come on here live with us?
Who wants to come on?
Hi, Rod. Come on, hi, Rod, Mr. Wilson. T Killer, come on, T Killer. Where you at, brother?
Babe.
Don't be hiding now. Hi, Rod.
Okay.
Come on, Mark. I know you got a computer, Mark, with the camera on it. Lake Water.
So,
what's happening, brother?
If we can't find anybody who wants to come on, we'll just have to keep moving.
Lake Water, you want to go live with us, Lake Water?
Anyways, Jeff, there's a big difference between, let's see, that own business in the prison. Oh, wow. Don't even get me started on this.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Nepotism. Is there nepotism in the state prison system?
Not just nepotism, but
Flat out corruption.
you know, look, okay, Pete Wilson was our governor for 8 years. He built several prisons.
Come on, Mom. You want to get on with this, Mom?
He gave the prison guards everything they wanted. One thing they wanted was, people are not aware, in California, you were allowed to get a quarterly package from home once every 3 months, hence the term quarterly package. So you got 4 packages for a year.
Because there are
What's that?
4 quarters a year.
Yeah. So your family would go out and buy you all kinds of nice shit and send it to you. And it would come in, the staff would pass it out and give it to you. Then they started coming out all these rules. Oh, you guys are smuggling drugs in your package, which 99% of the time is bullshit, right?
Sure.
I never did it. And they say, oh, you can't have that because it's not in a clear package. Or you can't have that because it has alcohol in it. Or you can't have that because it's not white, or it's not black, or it's not clear.
Hey, that sausage has veins on it. You can't have that.
Yeah, So Pete Wilson came out with a rule for the prison guards saying you had to receive your package from an approved vendor, which is Walking Horse, Access, so on and so forth. The companies that cater to prison.
What am I saying, brother?
And so Pete Wilson's wife had money invested in stock in the company called Walking Horse.
Imagine that.
And so that was an approved vendor for the California prison system. So Pete Wilson came out with a law that said you can only receive quarterly packages from approved vendors. So your family couldn't go out and buy you stuff that, and it was neat because your family, hey, you could get stuff that, like
We're gonna show you how in a minute, Mom.
Adrian or my mom would say, hey, send your package, right? Be stuff in there I never imagined I would have, really cool, neat stuff. So now all you're allowed to have is what that package company provides for you. Oh, and wait a minute.
You're going to pay for it.
That jar of Taster's Choice costs you twice as much as it costs in the store.
I always pay attention where I'm at smoking for him, because that's just habit. I see somebody walking near my car, I want to be ready to fire on his ass if he gets too close to me, brother.
Yeah, so a jar of Taster's Choice now costs you $18 instead of $8 at the store, right? The only meat you can get now is some crap that they sell you out of a package company that comes in a pouch. So now you're relegated to just buying what that package company provides at an outrageous price. It's usually twice as much as your family would pay. My family go out and pay $50, $100 for a package, where a Walking Horse or Access, it's $200 or $300 for the same amount of stuff.
Yeah, or less.
Yeah.
Hey, Mitch. Hey, your mom wants to come on with us, but he doesn't know how. All we have to do is send you a link in your email.
Adrian,
and then you
explain
touch it.
Adrian can explain it.
We'll get you on right now.
Yeah.
Hi. Okay, so who wants to come on?
Your mom.
Your mom.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay,
Right.
I am going to hold on a second.
She's doing it.
So I
Hey, does anybody notice how pretty Adrian is tonight? Isn't there something else?
Your hair
How
done.
pretty she is.
You're making her blush.
She looks so
Your
pretty.
hair done.
Okay, so thank you, Jeff. That's knock it off.
Get her, boy.
I swear I'm gonna hit you. Okay, so all you have to do is copy that link into
That's
your.
right, Belle. You're right. She is.
You just, oh, thank you, sweetie. That's so nice. You just have to copy that what I put under our name. Just
All right, Mark.
paste that, put it into your internet browser, and then you can we'll get you on in there.
Mark.
So your
So
mom,
just-
did
you'll
you
see him pop up in here when
did you understand what she said?
Just
Hope
type
so.
that into your browser and then hit enter. It'll come right in.
it and paste it in there.
Copy it and paste it, whatever she sent you.
Yeah, or just type it.
And like I've always said, well, turn the heater up.
No, it's fine. It's because I was in the back room, so it's just cold.
Want to drag
Oh,
it?
absolutely, High Rod. I absolutely would say that.
It needs a bag.
Garbage ass food. I remember at Donovan, we used to have a salad bar. You could go in there for lunch at dinner time, and you could go get as much salad as you wanted.
Yep.
And that's now they just give you some processed
Well,
shit.
I had a hot lunch.
Yep.
You know, Tracy, our food manager, Ann Leffler, rest in peace, was a fantastic lady. Just so you know, in San Quentin, she treated us pretty bad. They firebombed her office with gasoline bombs. And
That'll get a motherfucker in line, won't it?
well, they transferred her over to Tracy. And when I got there, she was a food manager. And
Whole different attitude.
dude, she fed us so good. She used to get ribs from the local hog farmers. The local hog farmers would donate ribs to us, you know. But like the salad bar in Donovan, she would have soup every night. Every night in Tracy, we had soup. And on Fridays, we had fish and clam chowder. And you could have all the soup you wanted.
Are you trying to get in, your mom?
There
Oh,
it
here
is.
we come. Looks like we got somebody coming up, joining the party.
I would take my hot sauce to chow every Friday night and have 3 or 4 bowls of clam chowder.
I muted
Oh,
his
that's
mic
nice.
where that background's coming from, that noise.
What's that? All right, here we go.
Hey, homeless glass, say something because I can't hear you.
We got homeless glass coming on. Hopefully, I see the little.
I'm gonna wait till he comes on here. Okay, once
All
you
right.
see his picture, but mute him because that's where that background sound's coming from.
All right, I got it. He's trying.
As soon as you hit that link into your computer, then it's going to ask you there'll be a pop-up on your screen to give access to the camera and access to the microphone. You just say allow, and then you come right in. Then you go into the waiting room, and then Big Mitch will be able to click you right on through.
Yeah, your mom, you have to add the video and all that shit. So, yeah, you know, food in prison.
Alien landing.
Food in prison is a big deal, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, just
Food anywhere is a big deal to me.
Just imagine you get up in the morning and you have to work. You have to work in prison or go to school. You got to spend 8 hours a day at a job. You go to breakfast. You got shit on a shingle, chipped beef, big chunks of hamburger, gravy, right? Good shit, right? And then later on,
Pork chops.
now they don't call it chipped beef anymore because there's no beef in it. They call it country gravy. It's made with this soy blow up
There's no
stuff
fucking country in it either.
and cornstarch. I don't know what happened to your mom, but I was hoping to get him on.
You've got to be trying. Just read.
Anyways, you
Mr.
know,
Wilson.
food in prison is a big deal, man. It really is. You know, you work all day, you go home, you're tired, you want to work out, they took the weights away, so guys want to do dips and pull-ups and burpees. You go to dinner, they have beef tips.
Merry Christmas to you, eulogy.
That's gravy with beef tips in it, right? So you get like 4 or 5 little pieces of meat about that big with gravy over noodles.
Yeah.
Because some
Don't
lame,
eat it all at one time.
yeah, because some lame stole all the
The meat out of it.
Willie G.
All right, Willie G. Merry Christmas to you, brother. You and your family. I wish you all the best.
Keep trying, your mom. I'll submit you. As soon as you have to hit the button that allows the video.
Yeah, did you type that into your top browser bar, your mom? You gotta type it into the top browser, hit enter, and then it'll say allow video and microphone.
No, I don't think he has to type it in.
He just cuts and pastes it in.
Just cut it and
Copy
paste
Or
it.
you cut and paste. It's the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
When you type it in, you
Just
make
copy.
big boo-boos. That's what I do when I type it in.
Yep.
Or get it right.
I'd show you,
Merry
man.
Christmas, Willie G, and I like that. He said Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Willie G.
He didn't say Happy Holidays, you know.
That's right.
It's trying.
Ho, ho, ho.
It's trying. You can see what's going on there. It's got the circle going on. Just so you know, your mom has been on with us before, and he also comes on Hard Intentions. He does glass work, and he's done
Man, I tell you what, those guys amaze me that do this glass work.
he has
I would love to learn how to do that.
Homeless Glass is his Instagram. He does
That's
glass
cool.
work. He makes marbles.
Is that right? I'm gonna check out I want to look at his Instagram right now.
He makes pendants. He makes some really awesome stuff. So this guy went from being homeless, using drugs, to not being homeless, not using drugs, having a studio to blow glass in and do glass work in. So I really admire his work, and he's a great guy.
Right.
Met us at an event where I was selling shirts. Yeah, Yep.
Oh wow.
So anyway, hopefully you can get on. It keeps it's spinning.
You might have a bad internet connection. Might be on this.
Yeah, you might have a bad internet connection, your mom. But
It doesn't work well with phones all the time.
yeah, it doesn't work well with phones. Jeff, corruption runs deep and throughout the state of California, everywhere. Especially in parole. Now, just imagine this: a guy is a prison guard, right? And then he's like, "Hey, I'm tired of working in prison. I'm going to go be a parole officer." And I remember when I was in Lancaster, level 4 prison, there was this young, he was kind of a mixed race guy, prison guard. He was a real asshole. He used to treat us like shit. I kind of had to use psychology 101 on this dude. Like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, hey, he's such a fucking lame. He was easy to manipulate, but he was a prick. But when he went to go be a parole agent, all the prison guards like, "Hey, all right, buddy," they're all hugging him and all right, because he's going to go out into the world and keep the prisons full. How do you go from being a prison guard to parole officer?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's what's you want to know where the corruption comes, and I tell you, I'm gonna bust parole right in the mouth with what I got going, because in 2008. In 2008, they, as you remember, healthcare had been in receivership for almost 2 years. They got rid of MTAs. So in other words, healthcare became even more fucked up because the MTAs were were better than what the nurses were. But they were part of the settlement agreement under the Coleman case, so that the feds didn't come in and take over the complete prison system, was that CDCR under Penal Code section 3015 Look it up. They agreed to install and implement a decision-making instrument in determining who or who did not get sent back to prison for a parole violation. Because it turns out that it's way better when it's based on science than if it's based on the fact that I think my parole officer's a cocksucker and he doesn't like me. And the minute I trip over my dick, I'm going back to prison, right? So so the parole agent made the decision as to who and who did not go back to prison. So in conjunction, Stanford, UCLA, USC, and a couple of other big colleges and organizations got together and they put together an algorithm, a computer program called the Parole Violation Decision-Making Instrument.
Really? I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, it's under Penal Code 3015. Okay. So when you leave prison, they do a complete assessment on you and you get a classification score. So a CSRI score of between 1 and 5. So if you're homo the chomo, then you're going to come out with a 5, which means that if you even fucking blink wrong, they're putting you back in because you're predator status. So I heard you came out with a 1.
I did hear about the classification score. I didn't know how they came up with it though.
Yeah, well, what they do is they put all this information because they ask you a bunch of questions about your background. They put everything. So now you leave prison, you have a classification score as 1. That is just detailing the number of how hands-on they have to be with your parole.
All right.
But now if you have a violation, so I got pulled over, going to the airport, catch a flight to Omaha, Nebraska for a week's worth of meetings. All right, Sofa King. But I had 2 unopened beers in the car that a client, right on you, Mom. We got to figure this out so you can be on the show with us next week. So I had 2 unopened beers. I blew a 0.0, and I'm sitting there on the side, and she calls the parole agent, and she orders me arrested. This is a parole agent who I'd been calling for 41 days and who would refuse to return my calls. After
the parole agent write you up, said that you were intoxicated and you had open container in the car?
She that's what she wrote it up, and she sent that to the parole board.
But the police
parole board has
the police report said that you had unopened beers and that you blew a 0.00 whatever, right? You're not
0.0. Yeah, it gets no lower than 0.0.
So
he testified that I was not under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
Right.
And that I was a real nice guy.
The parole officer lied.
The parole officer prepared report that because as a lifer, you have to, before they can put you back in custody, the BPH has to authorize it.
Right.
Because we're us and child molesters are the only ones that fall under the jurisdiction of the parole board still.
Right.
Well, on parole, everyone else falls under the jurisdiction of the Superior Court. So they ordered my incarceration. And, what's funny is, you remember there was a little scandal in Los Angeles Police Department back in early 2000s involving Officer Rodriguez and a few other fucking scumbag, corrupt pieces of shit called Rampart.
Yeah.
Remember Rampart?
Yep, I do.
Remember at Rampart, they came in and released guys at midnight. Get the fuck out of here. You're free. Because they overturned any case that those guys were involved in. They released them from prison.
Yeah.
So, but as a result of that, if you remember, the officers in Rampart, they were arrested and they had to be charged federally for violating civil rights. And so they went to federal court. The reason that they went to federal court is because state law did not have a law on the books for dirty fucking cops. Can you believe that? So they thought once you became a cop, you were never going to ever do anything illegal. So they didn't even have a law on the books in which an officer could be prosecuted. But that changed. That changed after Rampart. And guess what they passed? They passed 118.1, which is part of the perjury code. Because they signed these police reports under penalty of perjury. And so 118.1 says that if a peace officer, of which parole agents are peace officers, files a written report with their employing agency with a material fact that they know to be wrong that results in incarceration, they are mandatory prison sentence, 2, 3, and 4 years.
So that would be a felony.
Yeah, that's a felony, brother.
All right.
And I've provided proof to the Riverside County DA's office. They say, oh, too much time's passed. I said, what the fuck you mean too much time's passed? It goes, statute of limitations starts from the moment you become aware of a crime, not from the moment you do a crime. The fact of the matter is that they refused to investigate and prosecute her. But the fact of the matter is that had I not represented myself like an idiot for the parole board, I never would have discovered that. I never would have discovered that they falsified the speed of my vehicle either. But it's
Yeah.
but all I know is this: is no matter what it is in life, if it's worth fighting for, then it's worth fighting forever for. And I will fight forever to clear my name, and I will fight forever so that my kids will see that. You know what I mean?
It's worth doing it hard.
Yeah, you got to do it hard, brother, because
Yeah.
it ain't easy. And I do, and you know me, Mitch. I've never been one to back down from a fight, and certainly, and I've never been one to take an ounce of shit from a fucking cop either. So,
Well, here's the deal. If you're accused of a crime and then some legal agency says you're not guilty of that crime, we don't really see a crime here. And then somebody with some money and some power says, hey, you know what? I really think that you should prosecute this guy.
try your mom.
Right. And then they turn around and some guy says, I'll prosecute him. There's something wrong there. There's something
That's
wrong
right.
there. And that just tells me somebody's taking a little cash,
Yeah, Sean, Riverside's a corrupt motherfucking county, brother. Yeah, old Pacheco's bitch ass, and then fucking Hestron, this little bitch punk faggot they got working in there right now. They can all suck my dick. I hope they hit this tape.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be. Are we allowed to swear on this show?
You have to be careful because YouTube doesn't like the F word or the. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They don't mind fuck, but they don't mind the F heavy on the ag,
Yeah.
Q heavy on the, the
Yes,
drill, right?
Heavy on, yes, sir. Heavy on the sausage, light on the potatoes.
They don't even like you to say. They like you to say that a line.
Yeah.
You get that, babe?
Yeah. P heavy on the yolk,
No doubt, no doubt. We're gonna have to name some. We'll have to come up with some pseudonyms. So for sure.
Yeah,
You're right, and you know what? My hat's off to you, Mom, because you know what? It ain't easy. It's not easy. It's so much easier to give up.
Yeah, it is.
It really is, because it's excuse. You can find an excuse, but I'll tell you why more than anything. Red Dye. I'll tell you one thing. It's because that the fight is unfair the minute you take it.
Yeah.
When you're gonna go ahead, I knew that two things would happen. I knew that one, I would lose initially. So I would suffer everything that they could possibly do to me initially. And then I knew that I would be so mad over the fact that they fucking punished me even more that I would stay the course. And that's what I did. I became a self-taught attorney, and I'd still be stuck in prison. I got myself out of prison, and I got almost, I think it's 11 or 12 lifers out of prison too.
I used to do legal work for guys there. Last few years that I was with you before you paroled. Jeff, like I was the opposite. Like, I'm not a genius, but I'm not stupid. So, but I knew that, like, I studied, I love music, but I know like to study music, music and make money playing music, nah, it's not for me. I just listen to music. But I knew studying art, I could make money. I could do art. I got good at it. I got good at milling cabinet. I got good at plumbing. But same thing with legal work. To study the law and become a jailhouse lawyer, you know, it just wasn't my deal, you know. And so when guys started getting released from prison, um, you know, let's face it, man, the reason we were kept in prison as term to life inmates was through corruption because the governor and the prison guards cowed down and took money from the victims' rights organizations that said we should never get out of prison. And so I knew the deck was stacked against us. And to become a jailhouse lawyer to me was just too much work and not enough benefit personally. I didn't think that it would get me out of prison. So I waited. I just did my artwork, listened to music, did my little workouts, hung out with guys like you, you know, and when they started letting guys out, I was smart enough to realize, look, they started that long-term offender program because they want to release guys, but they got to have a reason to release you. So I went and took the long-term offender program.
Smartest move you ever made.
Right. And I learned what was going on in that program, went to board, and I got out. I was able to show them, look, I'm not a fucking scumbag. I belong in the streets. And I was fortunate enough to have Commissioner Randy Grounds. Thank you so much for finding me suitable. He was a decent guy, a decent human being. It released me.
Right on, man. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Sean Blue. Right on, man. Your mom.
Yes.
Hey, I'd like to have lunch with all you guys. For sure.
So, but the bottom line is even the long-term offender program, CC back in the 80s. I don't remember him. But you know, the bottom line is even the long-term offender program, all the programs in prison, substance abuse, SAP, all that shit. You're involved in some of that stuff. It's all a fucking scam.
It's all scam.
Corruption.
Absolutely.
How is that corrupt? Substance abuse program. How is that corruption, Jeff?
Because they don't give a shit about you. All they're doing is sucking the money out of the system. I remember because I was a mentor at SATF.
Right.
SATF, as we just discussed one time a few weeks on the program, that is the biggest prison in the world. You know that, right? Because there's 7 yards behind the fence. They have to have golf carts because it's a mile and a half from one end of the prison to the other.
They consider Corcoran and New Corcoran all one prison. That's why.
Well, no, but SATF by itself is the biggest prison in the world because it has behind one fence. That fence is incredible, bro. It's like a 10-mile perimeter fence.
Yeah.
But you have to get in a golf cart to go from R&R to your yard, and it takes a while to get there. I mean, it's a good mile drive from R&R. But but what's the sign on the outside? How they justified building that prison was it was going to be a substance abuse treatment facility. So that's what they named it, Corcoran Substance Abuse Treatment Facility. At the time that I became a mentor, 4% of the beds at that prison were utilized for substance abuse treatment. By the time I stopped being a mentor and went to the hole because I filed a fucking bunch of green paperwork and a lawsuit against this chick named Stacy Johnson, who's scumbag of the world. I just picked up $50,000 settlement from her about 3 months ago.
Yeah,
I fought that since 2011. But the fact is that less than 4%. But when I left, when I was in AdSeg waiting to catch the chain to CMC San Luis Obispo, where I've run back up into my buddy because I had whooped on somebody on the yard pretty hard. So he had a fractured skull, so they wanted to keep observation on me. But case he died, they didn't have to go get me. They could just come right to the cell and read me my rights. But the fact of the matter is 1%. 1% of the beds. Now, if I gave a shit about California right now, right, I'd say, how come we have a prison that was built by taxpayer money to give men a chance to get off drugs, to become educated, to become fathers, to learn how to fill out a job application, to learn some interviewing techniques, to learn how to file and how to do a resume, all these critical skills, these life skills that we'll utilize.
So what's that actor that was there? They sent that actor there. What was his name?
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr.
Who?
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. was there.
Iron Man.
He put it on the news. He plastered it all over every TV station. Robert Downey Jr. Corcoran State Prison.
He was the best handball player on the yard.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I never saw him there. I wasn't there, but that's just saying what the fella said is that he won every handball tournament.
Yeah. Well, he never played me.
That's right. That's right.
If I couldn't beat him, I'd fucking trip him up.
Whoop, fucking trip him up, stomp him on his goddamn head, But the reality, brother, is that it's just a bunch of bullshit. So society doesn't care either, as long as it's not in my backyard. Yeah, I vote for that as long as it's not in my backyard.
The thing is, they started doing substance abuse programs all over the place. And I had they had that shit in CMC West. And they had guys on our yard, my bunkie, JR from San Diego, they had this SAP program on another yard, but he was like, everyone's like, yeah, I'm glad that's on that yard, not on our yard.
Right.
And all of a sudden guys like, oh, you got to go to SAP before you get out of prison. You got to go to SAP. You got to go to SAP. Or you got to go to the GED class. Education's another fucking scam in prison. And so the bottom line is they get paid for every head they got in the class.
To your right. Look over here.
And they've got what you got going on, bro?
Oh, there's kind of somebody sneaking up, like they're just making the slow paces to the car. I don't know where I'm actually parked, so I just woke my son up to let him know if I have to fire out this door and beat someone's ass. You know what I mean? If I see a handgun or something, I'm going after it. Yeah. But
so they get paid for every head that's in a substance abuse treatment program, every head that's in a GED class, every head that's in education. They get money for it.
Yep.
And so it's like, it's a scam. It's corruption.
Yep.
So the state is robbing the taxpayers to have all these programs. It's just bullshit, man.
And you know what? When I was at Corcoran, and I was a mentor, right? Our whole job was to get people to participate in the drug program. They didn't accept volunteers. They assigned whoever they want. So 3/4 of the people that were in the program, you know what they said? Hey guys, time for group. You know what they said? Fuck group. I ain't going to group.
Yeah.
And instead, but there was hundreds of guys out there that wanted to go, that would have volunteered.
Yeah.
I always do that. Lake water. I got some person right by the back of my car right here. They got a bag in their hand. I don't know what it's got in it, but they got a mask on, and it's I just don't know who. I'm probably up on my window right now.
Probably a homeless guy looking for a free meal,
Well, I'll buy him a meal. I got no problem doing that.
Yeah,
I'll buy him a meal. I give, you know what I mean. I'm a generous person, that's for sure. But I won't.
Well, look, Jeff. Put it this way. When I was in the substance abuse treatment program, and when I was on the West Yard with you, Narcotics Anonymous was held once a week, every week. And I signed up to go, I was clean, doing my thing. I liked the program. I used to mentor some of the younger guys that were trying to get clean. You can only go to NA once a month because it's a voluntary program. Guys, you sign up to go. There's so many people that wanted to go. They had meetings every week, but you can only go once a month on your designated week because there were so many guys that wanted to go. So all those guys probably would have went to substance abuse if they would have been allowed to, but no volunteers.
I tell you, it's I remember when I first got to Corcoran, old Corcoran, or no, I'm sorry, New Corcoran. We got there because they had converted Tehachapi S&Y, best yard in the state, level 2 Tehachapi.
Yeah.
I get there out of that yard, they take me to committee and they say, all right, he's A1A, been A1A since 1993, whatever. He goes, we're putting him on the support waiting list for vocational janitorial. I said, what? I said, hey man, I'm not fucking going to vocational janitorial. I said, I got 9 vocational trades.
Just so people know, there's a vocational program in prison now. Since they did away with all the righteous vocations, there's one called janitorial services.
Yeah, so you know how to clean your fucking room, or you can clean up. Yeah, and so I tell you, it's so I told him, I said, you know what? There's a lot of guys on the yard here, Captain, who are waiting to get into this program. I said, I want to just go on the yard crew, and I said, because I'm not doing any more school. I'm done with school. I got my MBA, I got my PhD, I'm a certified drug counselor. I got 9 vocational trades. I said, I'm not going to janitorial. You know, I fought them tooth and nail. I even wrote an article that was published statewide. We got to hang that on the website too. And I said, a incredible waste of California taxpayers' money. I said, I arrived in your beautiful facility in Corcoran. I said, so there's guys on the yard right now that are in reentry who aren't lifers. Oh, by the way, everybody in that room was a lifer. So don't put somebody in there that has a parole date, who might take a job, and who wants to be a father and take care of his kids and feed his kids. Put me in there, because Lord knows that maybe one day I might mop the floor for my wife, if you know what I mean. It just made no sense, because there's guys on the yard that really wanted to get in there because they're tired of coming to prison. They're tired of going out and doing the same thing.
Well, there were guys
relying on the same people.
There were guys that being a janitor was a good job on the street, and they want to learn how to do it.
And they would have been happy to it, because it allowed them to where they didn't have to sell drugs to feed their children.
Right.
But no, it was important for them to make sure that now it became a principled issue with them. They said, oh, who's this guy think he is? What do you mean? You're too good to be a janitor? I said, no, I'm not too good to be a janitor. I said, I work as a yard crew, so I clean the yard toilet. So don't think that I'm too good to do that. I said, it has nothing to do with it. I said, it has to do with the fact that I will never utilize the curriculum.
Right.
You know, so why not allow somebody that wants the curriculum to go up in there so they can become a father?
Right.
And they didn't do it. And I said, well, then you guys are just all full of shit anyway.
Well, that's because it's a scam, bro.
It's all a scam.
Listen, the prison guards union told the prison officials that run the state, you got to get rid of these vocations, man. They cost you too much money. It was around 2002. They took all the vocations away. Unless they serviced the prison, like milling cabinet,
plumbing,
welding, plumbing, shit like that. Yeah. They did away with them.
Yeah.
Then they said, oh, wait a minute. We have to have some vocations. So they brought back janitorial services,
Construction man theory shit.
bullshit, underwater basket weaving, bullshit. Stuff that you could go learn, and then you go to the street and you go, oh, this really isn't a job, So they did away with.
You mean I'm an entry level position?
They did away with milling cabinet, plumbing, electricians, righteous shit.
Where people could get in the union.
Right.
Unions, right? We like unions.
Just
those
so
type of unions.
Yeah, so you have vocational training for things that don't really exist out in the world.
Or how about just taking up 2 slots for English as a second language?
Oh God, don't even get me started.
What do you mean? Don't you want to? It'll be easier for them to come back over here again if they know how to speak English.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
I mean,
we were like, dude, you're teaching guys that don't speak English.
You're going to deport.
They're being deported back to Mexico, Guatemala.
They call it cab now.
China, Vietnam, and you're teaching them English as a staff. I mean, it was, and they were forcing them guys to go to them classes.
No choice. No choice.
And just
they help them out because it makes it easier to come across the border if you speak English.
Yeah, but look, just so people know, they would tell them guys, look, you're assigned to English as a second language, right? That's your job assignment.
Yeah.
To go to that class. And
now they liked it.
But if they didn't go, they got penalized. They got put on C status, which means they weren't allowed to go to Canteen. They weren't allowed to get packages. They were only allowed 1 hour a yard a day, right? Yeah.
And then they would end up going to D1 or something, D1 status, to where they could get spend $45 a month.
Yeah.
And no packages, though. 1 package a year.
1 package a year. Yep. Yep. So the state government funded English as a second language for the prison. So the prison collected money to run that classroom. Yep.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
It's crazy because it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. But then again, that's what prison is all about.
Yeah, prison makes no sense, bro. It makes no sense. Good, bro. I had a 15 to life sentence. So did you, right?
Yep.
So our term was 15 years.
Yep. After
2/3 of that 15 years, which is 10 years, we were eligible to be released.
Shall normally be released.
Shall
normally be released, which is something that if it shall normally rain, then it's something greater than 50%.
Right. And under legal terms, the term shall means it will
mandatory.
Happen. It means mandatory. It will happen. Yep. So term to life means 15 years was our term. Life was the exception. Right?
That was if you went in there and killed somebody in there and stuff.
Yeah. So we ended up doing 38 years and 26 years, 20 years, 28.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Between us, Smiley, we have 66 years, an entire lifetime between us. And neither one of us killed a body.
Yeah.
Neither one of us. All we did is make bad decisions that put us in places where, that today we wouldn't put ourselves in those same positions.
Yeah.
It wasn't because we were bad people.
No, I mean,
you know what? In many cases, it's because we were good people, and we weren't willing to sacrifice. We weren't really smoking. I'm just starving, bro. It's been on the road. We weren't willing to sacrifice the morals and values that we were raised for. I grew up on a dairy farm in upstate New York, and I remember my grandfather used to tell us, and my father used to tell us, That's the one thing in life you should value above all is your word.
Yeah.
Because a man will be judged by his handshake and by his word. If your word's no good, then you're no good. And he said the other thing is, don't ever compromise the integrity of your family.
Right.
So in other words, no matter what happens with one of your kids, whether they're right or wrong, you know, you can hate on them, but nobody else can. And you'll have plenty of time to hold court. But if you see if one of your family members or one of your friends is under attack, there is no question as to the required response. The required response is to immediately make sure that they're okay, and to mitigate the situation by whatever means necessary.
Well, you know,
You have kind of time to talk.
we're lucky that they stood by us while we were in prison. And, you know, we're both free men now, but I mean, you know, the state kept us in prison so they can make money off of us. You know, that's the bottom line. They built 34 prisons in California, and they had to keep them full. And they kept them full by keeping guys like you and I in prison way beyond our term. To me, that's corruption of the worst kind, you know?
Yep.
How are you going to rob a man if it's free? I mean, look, they let me out. I was almost 60 years old when they let me out. I was 17 when I went in, Jeff. And you knew me when I was younger. I was a plumber. Bro, I was out working on water main blowouts. I was a worker.
Absolutely. You worked your ass off.
They robbed me of my best working years.
Yes, they did.
You know, I could have been making a ton of money. Also, you knew me when I was at my peak in my tattoo game. I could have got out of prison, bro, and opened my own tattoo shop and made enough money to buy my house and had a, you know, super good life. And so they robbed us of that.
Mitch, the judge who sentenced me and held my trial, after I'd been down 7 years, he wrote a letter to the parole board saying that my name is Judge Richard Lee. I tried Mr. Parati, and I'm the one that imposed his present sentence, which was a mandatory sentence under California law. He goes, I'm asking you to release Mr. Parati because the amount of time he has served more than pays for the crime in which he committed. And they just ignored the letter. Then he wrote another letter 2 years later saying the same thing. He said, you know, he's eligible. 10 years, they could have released me. So they're supposed to pay they're supposed to give great weight to the recommendation from the trial judge. This is the guy that heard all the evidence. Right. And if he said that 10 years or 7 years was more than enough for the crime that was committed, they should have released me. Yeah. And if he were alive today, because he died, I think 3 years ago. If he were alive today and I took him the evidence that I found on the manipulation of the speed of my vehicle, he would be burning down the courthouse to get my case overturned.
Yeah.
And because it was only the speed that convicted me. Well, they manufactured that. Well, afternoon, MacArthur. It's just unfortunate. And you know what? If you talk to somebody, sure, there's a lot of people in prison say, hey, I was innocent. But you know what? There's a lot of innocent people in prison.
Yeah. There are. You know, and with that, Jeff,
keep it hard, brother.
I want to tell everybody, please hit the like button. Please share with your friends. Amen. Our new channel, Biker and the Businessman. We've been on for 2 hours, bro. I don't know if I've ever been on this long, even on Hard Intentions.
Had a great time.
You know, it's a great time, brother, and it's good chatting with all our friends out there in the world. Yeah. MacArthur, that's a new one. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, Merry Christmas to you. Hey, Smiley, I know you lost your mom.
Yeah, I did.
2 weeks ago. I hope you got my card.
I did. Thank you very much.
You know, and Adrian, I just want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. And if if you want to drive down and spend Christmas with me, then by golly, get your ass in the car and get on down here.
Oh, we're going down to the Bay Area and seeing the kids and the grandkids. We're having a big Christmas thing down there at the kids' house.
Right on. Well, I'm gonna rent a diesel pusher motorhome, and I'm gonna throw the old lady and the dog in it, and we're gonna take off for 2 weeks because I'm taking 2 weeks off to Christmas.
Good deal.
I'm checking out. Bing. But I wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas, man, and I'm so grateful to be a part of your life, brother. You're a good man, and you deserve all the best that life has to offer. And I hope that in some way I can contribute to that, my friend.
Well, likewise, I enjoy our new channel. I enjoy all our subscribers, you guys that are on our live here now.
Absolutely, and a Merry Christmas to all of you guys. It's if there's ever anything that I can do to help anyone, all you got to do is reach out to me. My email is real simple, jeffperotti@gmail.com. Dr. Jeff Perotti@gmail.com. And reach out to me if I can ever do anything. If you have any questions regarding business, if you're doing a refinance, if you're doing anything that you want some advice on, they actually pay me to do just that. And I'd be happy. Mark McGregor, then
You are a businessman.
Yeah, and we're keeping it hard.
We're keeping it hard, and I am a biker.
I'm trying to be a businessman.
Clean up, get ready, get some sleep because I do have a part-time job now, and
looks like he's in the North Pole for his part-time job.
I thank everybody. I am making games.
Got toys to make.
I'm making cornhole games for
He's making toys. I'm telling you, he's becoming Santa Claus. You guys aren't listening. You see, he's making toys.
I need some elves to help me out, though.
Serious?
Yeah, you guys have a good night. Thanks for coming on with us. Thanks, Jeff. We love you guys.
Power to the people.
I got to clean it up and get ready for work tomorrow. You guys
have much respect. Hey, next week, your mom, you got to call into Adrian earlier so we can get you on. Hot Rod, Merry Christmas to your brother Lakewater. Smoking for him. We're going to Padre game this coming year. And everyone else I miss, Clinton, Daniel, everybody take it easy, man, and be safe out there.
My homeboy lives down at Lake Havasu now. You guys
That's right, Sean Blue.
You do it hard. Please share our channel. We're trying to blow it up.
Yeah, please.
We'll be on weekly and chat with you folks about social issues on the biker and the businessman.
Looking out. You guys take care.
Thank you very much, folks.
Love you, brother.
Have a wonderful, blessed Christmas.
Hey, Adrian. Love you, Adrian. I love you, Adrian.
All right, folks.
See you, buddy. Later, brother.